how patents. So do you realize that patents are filed for, okay, so let me check with you. What is a patent? When do you file a patent?
So when there is something new which still is not implemented, but as of now it may or may not have much significance, but people get it patented so that maybe later on if we develop some sort of usefulness out of it, so it becomes handy in that case. So it has to be new as of now for getting a patent. Usefulness obviously can be like we can get that later, maybe.
And one more thing, there has to be this. So okay, so Devjit is also saying it has to be a new idea, novel idea. An additional, yeah, please.
And there are few things which cannot be patented. Like if we are developing a new medicine, then obviously it has to be for benefit of all. Similarly, new weaponries cannot be patented. So there are few things which come in the category of those who cannot get patented, but in general, others can be.
Yeah, so even that, Shanvi, is changing from country to country. Like new medicine could be patentable in the US, may not be patentable in India.
India, yes.
The way of, so for example, in India, you cannot file process patents. You can only file product patents. So for the new medicine that you're talking about, you cannot file a patent on how to manufacture that particular chemical. You can only file a patent on this chemical can be used to cure this kind of a problem. And then someone can use that chemical, mix some other chemical in it, and say that, okay, this mixture is not violating your patent because you never talked about a mixture. You wanted to protect the chemical to be, so you cannot, so that is how generic medicine is in picture in India. That is how India is the biggest manufacturer of generic medicine in the world.
Yes.
So depending on from country to country, something could be patentable and another thing could not be patentable. Now, many times in your product innovation system, or as you are working on methods to add more value to your products, you will come across a situation where what you thought of is already patented. What do you do in that case? If you come across something which has already been patented and you know TRIZ as you know it till now, what can you do?
So can you repeat? I didn't get your question.
So let us say you came up with a product idea. So this electrification of the bicycle, that product idea, Devji.
Yes, sir.
And you go on the USPTO website and you realize someone has already patented it. Now, would you drop this idea altogether? Or what would you do?
I'll compare mine idea with his and try to maybe if I can get some differentiating factor, then maybe we can.
So when you look at the patent, it actually talks about e-bike only. Something which can be used to convert a bike into e-bike. That is what it talks about.
Sir, maybe I need to look at their implementation in detail and see whether their implementation has some flaws that is fulfilled by mine, something like that.
No, it has none.
Okay.
And then we'll apply some TRIZ.
Yeah. What would you do? Which tools of TRIZ would you apply?
So benchmark.
Okay. Benchmarking, yes. One could think of it that their solution has all this. So what we are proposing has something more. So kind of differentiating. But you know what happens? If you do not clearly distinguish your patent or your idea from their patent, they would say, okay, you're adding 2 more things, but you're still using my patent. So you pick up someone else's idea, add 2 more things to it, but you're still using their patent. So you have to pay royalty to them. You have a new patent, yes, because you've built upon someone else's patent, but you have to pay royalty to them for every time you use their patent. So every time the product is used, you have to pay them royalty. We don't want to pay royalty to others. What would you do?
Sir, in that matrix, to solve the same problem, we have multiple solutions. So maybe in one patent they have used some other way of solving the same problem. So maybe we'll look on to finding some other ways to solve the same problem in some other way.
Yeah, think about, so now you're not thinking about TRIZ tools yet. You're thinking about, oh, how do I solve this? You're talking about TRIZ tools, quite a few of them. Which TRIZ tools would you use? Let us see. Is it okay?
So
let us,
there are regulatory demands, right? Like we need our patents to be accepted as well, and we don't want to pay royalty to them as well.
so we want the same product as they have, but we don't want to pay royalty to them.
So then how means?
Let's see. Let's see an example. So we will look at an example of what is called as patent circumvention. That is, someone has filed a patent and you want to circumvent it. So the first thing that you do, is to, okay, let us look at this example. This is a method to create painted chocolate that was patented by Mr. Robert B. Waters, where he said that I could have, pictures put on a chocolate, and this thing is patented. And the independent claim 1 of the patent describes the said method comprising of 7 steps. What are those 7 steps? 7 steps are: make edible paper, roll edible paper into plastic or wax paper sheet in thin coating, fill standard inkjet printer cartridge with microfiltered food coloring, so food colors use karo, place paper in the printer, using graphics program create color image, using printer print image onto the edible paper loaded therein, cut edible paper into having a paper that has the image printed on it to size for placement onto the mold, place cut edible paper onto mold, fill mold with chocolate or chocolate coating, forming a bond between chocolate and edible paper as chocolate is allowed to cool, remove chocolate and edible paper bonded thereto from the mold, and wrap the mold for distribution and sale. Is the process clear? Any questions on the process? So step S2 says make edible paper. Step S4 says roll edible paper into plastic or wax paper sheet and thin coating. So put a small coating on that edible paper. And then actually step 6, 8, 10, and 12. In fact, not just 12, and 14 is about printing on that paper from a regular printer, inkjet printer, but the ink is food grade now. Then step 18, step 20 is about cooling the, making the chocolate. 22 is about removing the chocolate, and then 24 is about packing and distributing it. Is this clear? Any questions about it?
So why are they like in even numbers, the steps, like 2 and 4?
When you file a patent, you kind of leave some space there so that if there is another implementation, or if you want to follow it up with another patent, you would simply say I'm putting a step 15, S15. So it is just so that you have more flexibility finally, when you make the final patent draft.
Okay.
Because when you're writing the patent draft, you may have, there is an intermediate step, then you will simply call it S15. So आपने जितना पहले का text लिखा हुआ है, that you will not need to modify again. See, it's an inventive process. No? It's something which was not there existing. So many times it could happen that you want to add one more component, or you want to add one more step because लग रहा है कि नहीं, that would add more value, and you want to protect that step. So you always, आप अगर components के terms में कोई और patent भी उठा के देखेंगे, So you will see patent, the components are labeled 100, 105, 1010, 110, 120, and so on. Then second picture, patent, they would be limited as 201, 202, 210, something like that. Leaving spaces in between so that whatever text you have used to describe this particular image, already that text need not be modified. That's it. Today we have word processors, but earlier that was not the case. People used to type their patents on a paper, and that was the time when they said, okay, even if I need to make a modification, jo pages already type kar diye, wo I will not have to retype all over again. So don't get distracted by why they are just even numbers. It's just that's the way patents are written. So is the process of writing of this, painted chocolate clear?
Yes, sir.
So now this is the process. So what kind of function analysis would you do on it? Would you do product function analysis, or would you do process function analysis? So that is flow analysis.
So we'll do flow analysis because it's a process.
Yes, it's a process. So we will do flow analysis. So when we do flow analysis, we see that this actually is about 6 different process, functions. First function is edible paper preparation, where form edible paper and move edible paper have been put. Second is image printing, where move edible paper, move inks, direct inks, separate or cut edible paper, and so on. Then edible paper placed into mold, then mold filled with chocolate, chocolate cool and bind edible paper, and then chocolate removal and packaging. So these 6 or 7 steps are the functions that are being there. So with each function or with each process in the flow, there are multiple smaller steps. Is this clear? In this flow analysis, we show multiple smaller actions that happen in this phase of the product development.
Yes, sir.
And we are labeling these as, what are the way we label functions as? Productive. What are productive functions?
So which results in like enhancing the experience of like the food or the product that we are like making.
So productive functions are functions which have
Adding
evidence,
value, sir,
which are visible
adding.
even in the final output.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Then we have providing functions like supporting functions and transport functions. Supporting functions are which kind of functions?
So which are helpful in like important functions, but they don't show directly at the output.
Yes. For example, you heat iron before you start to hit on it and give it shape. Before you forge it. That heating is a supporting function. It makes the forging function easier. And transport functions? What are transport functions?
Transport function is when we need to move one place to another, let us say, like in
Like
So
in?
like it's simply like we are transporting like the product from one place to another. Like example of pizza delivery guy, he just transports the pizza from the store to your home. Yes.
So transport functions are where your product or your where whatever you are preparing is moving from one place to another, or some material is being moved from one place to another. So these are providing functions. They just make your productive functions possible. And the rules for trimming in processes are that, first of all, the corrective function should be trimmed. Now in this case, there are no corrective functions. Okay, there is one corrective function which says cut edible paper, but it is separate edible paper also. It's not really cut. So aapne pehle se hi karke, so that is not really a corrective function. The first thing that you trim in a flow is corrective functions or measurement functions, because measurement functions are providing functions, and other providing functions like transport function and supporting function. Productive functions you really do not want to and cannot trim. Okay. So in this case, then what will you be able to trim? Okay, you look at the function model and you say that, okay, I will trim all these supporting and productive function and providing functions. I will just keep my productive functions into picture. So what are the productive functions? Move chocolate and remove chocolate. So you move molten chocolate into your mold and remove that. That is what your productive function is. And the remaining edible paper, move, print on edible paper, everything, all that is providing functions, because your final goal was getting a chocolate which has an image printed on it. And that is what you're looking at. So when you removed all those providing functions, you said that, okay, I want to do the function of cooling and moving inks and etc. all in the chocolate removal stage. So how the team arrived at this, we will not go into those details. I'm just quickly showing you. They looked at the patent and they said, okay, we also are making painted chocolates, but our painted chocolates are made differently. We will do some steps differently so that we are not violating their patent at all. So what do? They said that we will remove the edible paper from picture altogether. So they say that जब edible paper ही picture में नहीं है, when the providing function of edible paper is not there in the picture at all, what all do I need? I just need edible paper nahi hai, so all the functions that link to edible paper can be removed. So edible paper preparation part is removed, image printing on edible paper is removed, edible paper placing into mold is removed, and another trimming rule D has been used, where we said that we want to remove the supporting functions there. So supporting functions हटाने के लिए we say that, okay, जो cooling and all that work you do in the final stage, chocolate removal stage. So what is the new function model, or what does the product look like now, or what does the process look like now? The process looks something like this. You say that, okay, I will put my chocolate into mold and I know this is the place I have to print my image. I will actually print my image directly on the chocolate. I will not use edible paper at all. And in that way, they have a patent circumvented, and they could actually file a patent on, okay, how to print image directly on a chocolate. So what had they done in their process? They had merged the last function, chocolate removal. So this was the only function that there was. You remember? So this was the only function that was there initially. This function has been modified to something like this. Are you able to see this?
Yes, sir.
So now we are talking about a new process where cooling chocolate and moving inks happen in the chocolate removal phase. And therefore, they were able to file a patent around this one. So what is this method that we are looking at? Can someone generalize it for all of us?
So it looks like trimming. If you just look at it from a above level, from a level of abstraction, you're just trimming different functions, and which we do in the case of product as well. We trim different components to reduce its cost and make it more affordable. So it's similar like trimming. So we can just circumvent a patent by trimming some things or some processes or some steps from it, and like making it and present it as a new patent without paying the royalties.
What would you do with the product?
So with products also, I think what we'll do is, if our products need something which cannot be patented and needs their patent or someone else's patent, which we need to like give royalty, so we can like make a new product for that, or we can do something like we can get rid of that component from our product, and the remaining of our product we can patent that.
So like same product, different product with same work. Let's say there's a humidifier they have with some patent, so we can again make a humidifier with different like product design or something.
Mm-hmm. So can I say that the first step when you want to analyze and circumvent a patent, over here what was done? What was the first step that they did to analyze the patent?
Find out what are the functions, like what are important functions, what are transport functions, identify different functions.
So first thing that you do is study patent and do flow function analysis. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And once you do the function analysis, what do you then start to do?
Yes, sir.
Identify value added by different processes or components. Different processes नहीं कहेंगे, process steps कह सकते हैं. Am I right? And then you do trimming. Do you realize the importance and significance of trimming now?
Yes, sir. Like in this example, it was very, very valuable. Initially, we thought that trimming can be on like only useless stuff, but now I think even useful stuff can be trimmed, and they can be like done in a different way.
So even very relevant and very useful stuff can be trimmed, and you could arrive at what do you say? How do I put it? You could arrive at new products and new patents. And what trimming does is, because it takes the first independent claim and trims that, you are not violating their patent at all. See, जो पहला solution आया था that okay, we will do a TRIZ benchmarking, we will do a feature analysis, we will see what are the features that we add extra over them. Then you're adding something extra. You're adding something extra. It means you're already using what they are giving you. And in that sense, you're already violating their patent. You have to pay them royalty. Trimming says that I'm not using what you said because I'm using lesser components than what you required in your solution. In your claim 1, you said you want all these steps to be there. I'm using fewer steps than that. Therefore, I do not violate your patent. So I studied your patent. I actually used the idea of your patent, and I did everything that was needed from your patent only. But I'm not violating your patent now. Are you able to see this?
Yes, sir.
And that is where these tools that we have studied in this course can actually help you, navigate the patent landscape. So we just looked at one example of patent circumvention in a process flow. You can also, we can also look at examples of patent circumvention in product flows, so to say, and in product analysis also, and you could come up with new products or patented products. The process remains the same. You do functional analysis, you identify the value that different process steps or components add, and then you arrive at the, come up with a trimming model, and you start to trim components such that obviously possibly the cost would reduce, and also very interestingly, you can now file a new patent which does not violate or you can now not just do it, but you are now actually capable of filing a new patent and protect the innovation that you brought in. So that is what we will keep for patent circumvention. Now that you looked at patent circumvention, when you are writing patents yourself, how should you analyze and write your patents? Are you any wiser now after this thing that we just did?
Yes, sir. Definitely.
What would you take care when you write a patent yourself, or when you start to patent something by yourself?
Sir, a thorough literature survey would be required.
Sorry?
Sir, a thorough initial literature survey should be required. I mean,
हाँ, वो तो ठीक है, आपको लिटरेचर सर्वे करा, आपको पता लग गया कि भाई पेटेंट आप फाइल करना चाह रहे हो, एंड अब आप पेटेंट फाइल करने गए. Now, how would your thought, like, has there been any change in thought process now than what was earlier?
तो जो simplest possible way हो उसे करने का, I think उसके patent का better value होगा rather than complicating the process. Like initially the process was very complicated. So even if we get it patented, तो in the long run अपने को भी वो चीज implement करने में बहुत problem होगा. So like we can get a patent, but हमेशा agenda ये हो कि like minimum number of steps में maximum output रहे.
So what we are essentially saying is that when you write a patent yourself, or when you are filing a patent yourself, you should first make the function model of your claims and see that is there any component which could be removed. If it can be removed, someone will definitely remove it and violate your patent. You yourself, it is better that you yourself remove that component.
So we basically make our patent circumventable. Opposite of that. Basically, we make it unhackable, sort of.
Yes.
So that others won't be able to circumvent it.
Yes, you have to analyze your patents from a patent circumventor's eye.
Yeah. Okay.
And make it uncircumventable.
Yeah, that's all.
And actually, as you make your patent strong and strong, it becomes uncircumventable. What that means is the value of your patent actually goes high.
Yes, sir, because eventually we'll be getting the royalties all, like whenever someone uses our technology,
Yes.
and they won't be able to do anything about it.
So if you are able to patent something which is very trimmed, then first thing is the cost of that implementation is lower. Second is you're covering a much bigger market, and you will get much larger revenue when someone wants to enter into that market. So I think we can, so if there are no